Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sew Uncommon. So, as quilters, I know that there's one special thing about us. We tend to like other forms of fabric arts, other hobbies. Maybe you're also a knitter or a crocheter, or maybe, like me, you love the art of cross stitch. It kind of goes with the idea of embroidery, so why not, right? And I bet some of you have never thought about, could you do that on your embroidery machine? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's video, because the answer is yes. For years, I did some cross stitch design when my husband flew for the US Navy. I did a lot of our squadron patches, things like that, and designed those. And I love them. But you know that even a simple design in cross stitch, when you do it by hand, takes you quite a bit of time to do it. Well, as a quilter and someone who loves quilting, it's my first love, getting that cross stitch done was a little more time consuming than I had time for. But today I'm going to show you how we can do it on our embroidery machine and add it to our quilts and continue to enjoy cross stitch. Hi, everybody. I'm Diana from Sew Uncommon. I'm the owner, educator, and designer here, and we're thrilled to have you with us today. So there's just a few things that you need when you cross stitch. One is a design, and stay tuned until the end because I have a design that you can pick up. And then you need a couple of other things, some of your tools and things. So let's just switch over to my main camera here. And so the very first thing you need, now you can stitch your cross stitch out on your quilting cottons if you want to, but if you want it to look like most of your cross stitch projects, you can use the same Aida cloth that you use for cross stitch by hand. So I recommend an 18 count. I think it really makes the stitches look like they were hand done. And I'll show you some samples here in a moment. So you're going to need to cut out a piece of your Aida cloth. And just like you do when you do cross stitch by hand, I always trim out my edges in a little bit of embroidery tape. I know some folks take and do a zigzag stitch all the way around. That's fine as well. It just helps to keep it from fraying while you're stitching. And then at the end, I actually, you can trim it up closer to your design if you want to, or I like to add a fabric border or a pre-made lace border to it if I'm going to make like a little mat or something for a table to put a vase or something on. So you can do that any way that you like. But that's really all you need, because the only other thing you need is a 40 weight embroidery thread, whatever color you choose or whatever color the pattern would indicate for you. And then I really like using a 7511 sharp embroidery needle. It really punctures really well. It doesn't leave things loopy and stuff. I think it works a little bit better on this fabric than a ballpoint does. So that's my thoughts there. Now, that's all you need, and your hoop. Okay. The hoop I use in the little piece I'm going to demonstrate to you today is just a 4x4 hoop. So you could do these as individual blocks and build out a bigger piece if you wanted, if you had a design like that, or you could move your design around. There's always, you could do larger pieces, but there are designs that go in a 4x4 hoop. So let me set our prepped fabric to the side. There we go. And let me show you some things that I've done. Now this is, oops, I didn't flip this. Hang on, let me flip it. There you go. Thank goodness you didn't need it flipped on when I was just showing you that piece, right? So here we go. Here's a little bit larger piece, and it's simply a butterfly that I took a piece of clip art that I had, and I kind of played around with it to make it more cross stitch friendly when I was working on this for my own pieces. And then I stitched it out again on an 18 count Aida cloth. The Aida cloth can be whatever color you like. whatever's appropriate for your project. I tend to use a cream or something that is a little more of a brownish natural. I don't tend to use white too often, but you could do that if you wanted. And they have some really beautiful Ada cloths now. I saw some that were like variegated and stuff when I was at my local craft store recently. So you can use any color Ada cloth that works for you and your project. But you can see this really looks like it's been hand stitched. I mean, let's even bring it up closer so you can see it. I mean, it's cross stitched, right? Now let's show you the back. That's the back, because you're going to use a piece of poly mesh or no-show mesh as your stabilizer. And when I did that, at the end, I actually came in and trimmed around it. I didn't want to use wash away because I want that poly mesh in there to kind of give it some stability over time in my project. So I just loosely cut around it. I mean, I didn't have to come in all in here, but I did just so I could show you that you can do that. Up here on my antenna, I even cut around that. And it keeps it really nice and beautiful. And so I know with cross stitch, the idea is to always make the back look as good as the front. And I think that does, right? Pretty good. And in this design, you see I've used multiple colors. So great colors. I didn't do a lot of shading and things on this. This was actually an original piece that I played with just to see if I could get this to work out nicely on an embroidery machine. And yeah, I really liked that one. So now let me show you a simpler design and how it looks once it's in the hoop. So here's just a simple heart design. And you can see I've just used a 4x4 hoop. This is about a 3-inch wide by about 2¼ inch tall heart. This is actually the design you can pick up over on our website. I'll tell you more about that. And again, I prepped my Ada cloth, and I didn't do anything to stick it onto my stabilizer. I just used another piece of embroidery tape and kind of taped it here at the top and the bottom. Now here's a hint I want to give you, and that is when you are prepping your fabric, iron your Ada cloth. For whatever reason, when you iron your Ada cloth, it makes it more malleable and a little bit softer. If you take it right off the roll or right out of a package where it's been folded up, it can be kind of stiff and you can get little buckles in it. So just give it a good press with your iron, and it will take all of that away. And I think it makes it really nice and malleable and easy to use. So let me show you the back. Now I haven't cut this one away yet because I haven't unhooped it, but once I do, I'll just come in here and trim around my heart with my applique scissors, and my piece will be ready to go. Now, like I said, I could come in here and trim around this a little bit more. I like something like this because it's perfect to add to a quilt label. Or what I will be doing with this, and I actually make up, I usually have about a dozen of these set aside, just like this, because what I like to do is then put, if I'm doing a quilt, I like to put some of the quilting fabric around it and make it as a special block within the quilt itself. Just a special little token of love, just to kind of say, hey, this quilt was made for you with love, and it holds my love and my care for you. And so I do that. Now, if you want, before you take it out of the hoop, with the accessories on your embroidery machine, you could add a name and a date if you wanted to do that. Maybe it's for someone's birthday, anniversary, a wedding, anything like that. So you could certainly add that on here as well. With the fonts on your machine, or if you have software, you could use software to add that in before you ever do the stitch out. So super easy to do. And like I said, this is the actual pattern I have available for us today. So let's go back to our main. There we go. So if you want this pattern, you just go to our website, www.sewincommon.com, and it's called the Love Heart, because I'm sorry, when I think of hearts, I always think of love, right? I just do. And so that's where you can find it. I think the whole pattern and instructions and the designs are only, I think it's $2 on the website. And when you get it, you'll get a zipped file. When you unzip it, you'll get written instructions, and all of the different machine formats will be in there. So whatever your machine takes, you just find that extension on there, grab that file, put it on your USB stick, or send it wirelessly if you have a machine that allows you to do that. So you can grab those. It's already out there and ready to go. Now, I'm going to say goodbye at this point, but before I say goodbye, you're going to see a quick little, about a minute or so, a minute and a half video of this getting stitched out. I want you to see that process. And I filmed that clip earlier because it was a little easier to do for you. And so you're going to see that next. And I hope you enjoy it. I'd love to see what you do with that little heart. You can always post your pictures at our Facebook page called Sew in Common, of course, or you can send me pictures if you like at my email address, diana@sewincommon.com, whatever you would like to do. So until next time, folks, go sew life beautiful with some love hearts. Add them to your quilts, make special little things for your home with them, whatever you'd like to do, but enjoy the art of cross stitch with your embroidery machine. Bye for now, everybody. So here is our cross stitch heart actually stitching out on my machine. It's stitching at 600 stitches per minute, so it takes about 8 minutes for the whole thing to stitch out. I know at 700 it took 7 minutes, so maybe 100 stitches per minute there. But I'm actually using a 18 count Ada cloth in kind of a cream color. I've prepped my edges as I mentioned in the video, and I have used a little extra tape on the top and the bottom to kind of attach it to the stabilizer and the hoop because I don't have the whole thing in the hoop. I didn't want that hoop burn on the Ada cloth. So here it is actually stitching out, and I know that's a little hard to watch, so let me pull back just a little. That might be easier. But you can actually see it looks like I've done this by hand. It really turns out quite beautiful. So I hope you enjoy that. Let's go back to our regular part of the video now.